Welcome back to the workshop. So today on the lathe, I've got a bit of bad beech. This is an offcut from the wood I use in my production work, which had a knot in it, a big knot. So I thought, well, let's play with this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm just going to make some shavings. So we'll start off with a little tenon on it. It's only a small piece, about 4 inch by 4 inch. And we spin it around and see what happens really. So I'm just cutting it into a shape. That knot on the side there, that's why it was rejected. Just cut out of a blank. And I suspect it's going to come out. I'll be proved right just now. And there it flies. Now this is where the project gets silly, because I should have just put it on the burn pit at this point, but I got the glue and put it back in again. Bit of two-part epoxy, just El Cheapo 2-part 5-minute epoxy. Nothing special about it. So I just put it back into place, wander off, have a cup of coffee, give it some time, and then let's have another go. And now I'm going to decide what I'm going to do with it. You see that little bit of white at the back there? The top of this was uneven, and it didn't really fit very well on the ball boom screw. So I used a piece of foam from an Amazon package that arrived just to absorb the unevenness and hold it where I wanted it. And surprisingly, it worked really well. So I've decided what I'm doing. I'm doing a little pot with a lid. Partly because, without it glued in, I want to see whether it stays there when I cut it in. And that's the thing about that packing foam at the back. When I want to cut that top edge, I can just cut straight into the foam. Now I'm doing this as a voiceover, and I did this video a week or so ago. I can't remember what I was thinking here. I think I was going for like possibly putting a bead on the top, or I don't know. I can't remember. I did something. I was aiming at a design that I was making up as I went along, and then I forgot what it was. But I'm putting a bead on the bottom, just slightly hollowing that out. And when I take the tenon off, I will complete that base. So, off the woodworm screw, into the chuck, and get the middle out. Sorry about my head being in the way of the camera. I must remember to switch to the mobile camera when I'm doing this next time. I say I must. I probably won't, but I'll try. And this was on their in bowl orientation, so I'm not cutting the wrong way. But also with a floor in a work like this, you kind of have to assess what is the right or wrong way to cut, because sometimes it's not the way you should, or some way the book says. I remember getting very nervous at this point because I'm cutting through. If you remember, the majority of the glue that was holding it was at the bottom of it, just a little bit on the sides. And the thinner I cut it, the less glue there's going to be left. So I'm nervous and checking frequently. But I'm also, this was a piece of scrap wood that I could play with. So I'm going to make a lid for this. But when I did this, I was imagining doing a little curved lid with a little ball type finial on the top. Then I changed my mind, or I might have changed my mind. For the video, I changed my mind. I then changed it again, but we'll see how it ends up. Not in this video, but in real life one day. So I left a little ledge on the inside of that. You can see the underside of the knot there, so obviously where that's supposed to be, where the glue was, has now been cut away. And you can actually see through the join. There is a gap there which is just pure clear epoxy. Not a big one, but enough to be a little bit worrying when you're cutting. But also enough to make it a tiny little window. It's quite nice in the final piece. Now you've heard the expression about pushing your luck. This is exactly what I'm doing here. I'm already seeing through the piece. I do want to keep that knot in. That's it, it survived. Let's get it sanded up and polished a bit. Right, now I changed my mind on what I was doing here. I decided to use some double-sided tape, which I'm sure you've all heard of. Some of you may have even used. I'm aiming to cut a very, very thin lid, which I will burn holes in with a laser to make a potpourri dish. But this is mostly about showing the mounting method and the fact that it actually works. it mostly works. You wouldn't want to put anything heavy on here because it will come off. It's slightly heavy cut and away it goes. But double-sided tape, the platform I'm using there is just one of my sanding arbors, which I just skimmed off to make sure it was nice and flat. I burned some holes into this. They haven't gone all the way through yet, but it's still quite thick at the moment. And just going to true up this side, then I will size it and true it up from the other side to hopefully release those last bits. I'm using the large sounding disc because I want this to be super flat. If I used a smaller one, it could possibly just misshape it a bit. So now I've reversed it. Now I'm going to cut it to fit the pot, which gets rid of that burnt edge, which is good. So once we've got it to fit the pot, then we can start taking it away. Now, a tight fit is not required here, because this piece of wood is going to be 1 mil thick. So if I had a tight fit, putting it in or taking it out again would definitely break it. So you also don't need a tight fit because you're not going to be using it to spin the pot on. But a close fit, but not a tight fit. Because this is such a small mortise tenon attempt, there isn't really any room to use your tapered edge, find the size from the taper and cut to that. Because it's only about 2 mil thick at the moment. I probably should have edited some of this out, shouldn't I? You don't need to see me keep trimming and rechecking, but we've got the size now. Got a bit of tape stuck to my gouge. Get rid of that. And now we need to make it thinner. Oops. Now I have used the same piece of tape for both sides of this. I didn't refresh the tape. If I'd refreshed the tape, that probably wouldn't have happened, but it's not a problem because when I cut it down to size, I also cut a little edge into the back so I can realign it perfectly to that. And again, fresh tape would have stopped that happening, but I was playing. So there it is, the last flower petal and the centre didn't come out clean. They needed an extra push. And actually I used a craft knife to finish off the centre. That's it, 1 mil thick and a potpourri lid made with tape.